Hey guys, it is NCS Fan 001 here for another one of those weekly trophy list updates. Today's date is Monday, July 19th of 2021. So this will have covered the week of July 12th through 18th of 2021. So there were quite a few games that I worked on this past week, but I will bring up a couple other things. I did get like a boosting group set up for the division. I don't know exactly when that's going to happen or exactly what I'm going to do with it or if I'm going to focus on it yet or not. We'll have to figure that out because it doesn't seem like anyone else in there is any more active than I am. But we shall see for the future. And secondly, I start a new job this week, so I don't know exactly how active I will be on here during this coming week or so, just as I get acquainted to everything there and trying to go to bed at probably a more reasonable time and stuff. So as for the games I made progress in this week, I obtained a few platinum trophies, looks like 3 platinum trophies, and made progress in a couple other games. So let's get started with Queen's Quest IV: Sacred Truce. This was an Artifacts Mundi game that I had started last week. And this Platinum Trophy is very easy, as with most Artifacts Mundi games, though this one, as I've said before, I feel like it had a few more hidden object puzzles than it probably needed. But to get the Platinum Trophy, you're going to get a bunch of trophies, everything through here, simply by completing the game, so those are all story-related trophies that can't be missed. Then you have your hidden object puzzle trophies. You have to finish one without using a hint. You actually have to finish a total of 3 without using a hint. But after you have done this one, you can actually go in and you can use hints after that is what I'm trying to get at. So once you unlock this trophy, you can use hints on the hidden object puzzles only. So you have to complete one in less than a minute, which is very easy because you're going to be playing this one on casual difficulty, so you can just spam click around. This one is probably the hardest trophy in the game, simply because there's always the possibility that you'll click just slightly off of what the game wants you to. So I ended up doing it on one of the ones where there's just like 12 specific items you have to find, and I just used a hint to tell me exactly where each one was. I think it was like 12 mushrooms or something. So I just would wait for the hint to recharge and use a hint for every single one to show exactly where it was and what to do. And you can always back up your save right before it. You also have to complete a minigame in less than a minute, which is pretty much unmissable. You have to find 3 hidden objects in 3 seconds, which will be easy as long as you use the quick spam clicking method. Then you have to finish all of the mini games in the game without skipping, which isn't really difficult. I mean, it's how most Artifacts Mundi games are. There's nothing much to worry about with that. You have to find all the collectibles in this game, which there are like maybe 50 or so in this game, because I think it's like... No, I don't know if it's quite 50, but there are 15, I believe, of the collectible eggs. I believe there's 20 of the collectible coins and 12 runes that you have to get. So it's definitely a few more collectibles than some of the other Artifacts Mundi games, but as long as you're following a guide, you shouldn't have much of a problem. This trophy's kind of weird, and it's been in some of the other, like, more recent-ish of the Artifacts Mundi games. I think, and I've talked about this before, I think the trophy unlocks by spending less than 10 minutes in 3 consecutive hidden object puzzles, like within the puzzle themselves, not necessarily the rest of the gameplay in between them. I think that's how it's unlocked. I could be wrong on that, but it looks like a lot of people have this trophy, so it's probably what it is. Then you have to complete 5 mini games without skipping. You have to complete all of them without skipping. And then you have a couple other collectible trophies. So, I mean, it's a typical easy Artifacts Mundi game. Takes, probably around 3 to maybe 4 hours if you're following a guide. You can probably do it faster than that, actually. So, like, anywhere from 2 to 4 hours with a guide. So, yeah, that's just my thoughts on that game. Like I said, it wasn't really one of my favorites. But one nice thing about this is that if you were doing, like, an alphabet challenge where you got to platinum a game that starts with every letter in the alphabet, this is definitely a great option because there's not a whole lot that start with Q. Now, ironically, the second game I ever got the platinum in started with Q. That was, of course, Quantum of Solace. But beyond that, all the other games, like most other games, don't start with Q. So now that it looks like there's a few of them, because I think there's like 3 of these Queen's Quest games that actually have trophies. I want to say one of them actually doesn't because maybe it never released on PS4. So, yeah, next up we have Jigsaw Abundance. So this is another quick, easy jigsaw puzzle game. All you have to do for the trophies is solve a total of, I believe it's 20 puzzles. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So yeah, all you have to do is just solve a grand total of 20 jigsaw puzzles, but they do have to be 20 different puzzles. So you have to switch around the background theme and what the picture is and stuff like that. But you just have to solve a total of 20. It doesn't control particularly well. Like sometimes you'll try to move pieces around or try to select things in the options on the right side of the screen and it just won't quite work right. But as long as you're solving the 4x4 puzzles, you shouldn't have any problem. As you can see, this platinum took me a little over half an hour. You could do it a little bit faster for sure, but it is probably going to take you like 20 to 30 minutes no matter what. Just because, you know, it doesn't always control perfectly, and a couple of puzzles might be a little bit tougher depending on exactly what you're looking at and exactly what size of puzzle and stuff you choose to do. But overall, quick, easy platinum trophy. I've done, I think, a couple of these jigsaw-type games that are specifically within this series, because I know I did one maybe like a couple months ago, and I think there's a few other ones, but I could be wrong on that. I know that they stack as well. Next up, the big completion for the week, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. Now, I will say maybe I over-exaggerated on Ethan Must Die a little bit by saying that it was impossible and cursing it out, but in all honesty, outside of saying that I thought it was impossible as of 2021, I stand by everything else I said about this being a god-awful mode that should not have been in the game with a trophy. It's still a terrible game mode. It's completely heavily luck-based because you can have an absolutely perfect run and get screwed over by an enemy choosing to behave a little bit differently or just not getting the items you need. Like if you don't have 3 or 4 bullets for the fat molded outside the gate before you go to the greenhouse, you're just not going to win. You know, it's just, that's how it is. You're just not going to win sometimes if you just don't get the right items. So, they also, I can confirm officially that they have made the Marguerite fight harder over the years because they have made it so that she doesn't really wander around the house through the traps like she used to. So that's just another thing to keep in mind, that you have to do more work there. But we can go ahead and look through the entire trophy list because it's the last time we'll ever be coming back to Resident Evil 7, unless for some reason they ever released like a VR version of the game that was with a separate trophy list, which I don't think they would do. So from what I remember for this Platinum Trophy, I believe everything through here is going to be automatic, unmissable story related. Then you have 2 different endings depending on who you give the serum to when you are, let's see, it would have been, yeah, right around here when you escape from the home, I believe. So right around then you have to make a choice as to who you want to use the serum on, and that's going to get you your 2 different endings. You are going to be playing through the game probably at least twice anyway. You have to complete the game on Easy, Normal, and Madhouse, but the nice thing about Madhouse is that it's possible to unlock a Circular Saw that's basically an infinite ammo, powerful melee weapon, and that makes Madhouse relatively easy overall because then you can just save your more limited ammo for the more important areas of the game and fights and stuff like that. So close and open door by yourself, that's very easy, just like double hit X on it. Block an enemy attack by guarding, everyone's going to get that naturally. You have to closely examine an item, that one's going to come naturally while finding everything. Using a lockpick is going to come naturally while finding everything. This one, you have to use any sort of unrelated object on one of those shadow platforms throughout the game. Use a set of psychostimulants, find something to increase your inventory, kill an enemy with a knife or finish them off with a knife. Clear insects off a door using a knife. So pretty much like all of those are just very easy, simple, miscellaneous trophies that you get throughout the game that most of these are probably going to come fairly naturally because if you're trying to, you know, save ammo and stuff. So now we have a silver trophy here for fighting off Marguerite while she wanders around the old house. So when you get to the old house, you're going to have to do enough damage to her to make her leave, like if you were using the flamethrower on the alien in Alien Isolation, which in fact the burner actually works quite well on her from what I remember. Then you have to avoid Jack's scissor attack. I think this is from when you go down into the basement and you're fighting him. I think that's where you get this one at, but I might be wrong on that one. I mean, I haven't played the main story since like 2017. 2 enemies with 1 shot is probably going to come naturally with a shotgun or something. Then at any point where Marguerite leaps at you, shoot her with a shotgun to knock her back. Pretty simple. This one I think gave me some trouble just because it's a little bit finicky. So you have to kill an enemy by attaching a remote bomb to them and detonating it. I think this one was a little bit tricky from what I remember. There's a good place to do it when you get onto the ship though. Then you have to create all different items that involve chem fluid or strong chem fluid. That one should come naturally over the course of a few playthroughs as long as you experiment a little bit. You have to complete the Mia videotape without being spotted by Marguerite during it. That one's not too hard as long as you follow a guide. I mean, as you can see here, half the people who play the game get it. And I think you can attempt it multiple times, which is nice. The Happy Birthday videotape in under 5 minutes, you're not going to be able to do this if you don't already know what to do or, aren't following a guide. Then you have the videotapes. This is a collectible type. I think there's only about 4, so that's fairly easy. Then you have to obtain all of the antique coins on easy or normal, and then they're in different places on Madhouse, but they're used to unlock special items throughout your playthrough, so it's actually worth getting them, just so that you can get the items and stuff. Then you have to read all of the files in a single playthrough. There are a lot of them, so you're probably going to want to do that on an easier difficulty, though. I think the guides usually recommend you do your first playthrough on easy or normal just to enjoy the game, get used to it, and, get all the miscellaneous trophies out of the way, find all the collectibles, all that kind of stuff. Then you have to get all the Mr. Everywhere statues, which you just have to knife or shoot them. As long as you're following a collectible guide, you should be fine. I believe both PowerPix and Brian have trophy guides for this game. So then you get your gold trophies. There are 3 of them. You have your typical speedrun trophy for 4-hour playthrough. This is very generous. You can do it in under 3 hours, so this really isn't much of a problem. You have to complete the game without opening the item box more than 3 times. This one is really kind of messed up because 2 of the uses are required pretty much during the story. Like, you have to drop all your stuff off before the Happy Birthday section or somewhere around there, and then you have to pick all your stuff back up afterward, and then you can only use it 1 more time beyond that. And then you have to complete the game using only 3 first aid meds or less. This would be a little more difficult, but steroids do not count against you for this. So you can use steroids, and they will not count against you, and there's like 4 of those, and they not only fully heal you, but they increase your maximum health. So overall, it's a fairly straightforward platinum. It's not... I'd say it's actually on the tougher end, though, of the Resident Evil of the main numbered series, so Resident Evil 0 through Village. It's on the tougher end of those. Like, I think that 0 is considered to be a little bit tougher than this, and I know that Village is considered to be tougher for sure. But otherwise, it's not, the hardest platinum trophy in the franchise, even if it is harder than some of the others. Now, as for the DLCs, in Banned Footage Volume 1, completing Nightmare is not a problem really at all once you get a strategy down. Night Terror is the hard mode of that, but as I found out, it's really not that bad. I didn't think it would be too bad, but I never even came close to having to grind points for, like, infinite ammo and stuff. I think I ended up with, like, 1.7 million total points out of the 10 million that you need to unlock everything by the time I got this trophy. It really just came down to getting a good strategy, because I got to a point where I could get to, like, round 4 of the 5 pretty easily on Night Terror, so just takes a little bit of practice. It's nothing really too difficult. Then you have to complete Bedroom, which is very easy. It's just basically an escape room. If you follow a guide, you also have to find all the dead rats. There's 3 of them, so just an extra collectible type. Ethan Must Die, you already know my feelings on that. I remember I followed a pretty solid video guide where you could get to the final section more often than not. Like, I actually got there 3 consecutive times. Or, no, not 3 consecutive times, but 3 out of the 5 final playthroughs I had to do of this mode, I got to the greenhouse, including my successful run, so that guide helped a lot, and it's the strategy I sort of remember from back in the day, but you're going to need a very good strategy, and you're still going to need some luck as to what items you get. Because on my successful run, I actually didn't get any steroids, which really kind of sucks because they're a real lifesaver because they give you more health. But I did get a ton of weapons, like I got the burner, I got maybe both shotguns, I got at least 1 pistol. It was the only run where I got the Magnum. That's another thing, is that a lot of people seem to get a little bit luckier with some of the weapons. In all of the attempts I did in 2021 of this trophy, I got the Albert once and the Magnum once, with the Magnum being on my successful run. So that's just how luck-based this comes down to. And it's not like I wasn't getting any 4-star chests. I was getting a fair number of them, just was never getting this stuff. I was getting like the X-ray specs and the useless items like that. So then you have Banned Footage Volume 2, which is a little bit easier. So for this mode, you have to complete 21, 21 Survival, and 21 Survival Plus. 21's easy, 21 Survival isn't too bad, but 21 Survival Plus is awful because you have to beat 10 consecutive opponents with only 10 hit points on yourself. And with that, there is a lot of luck that comes down to it as to what kind of trump cards you get and what trump cards the enemy gets. Now, if you have some knowledge of cards and probabilities, because there's only one deck in play and it's only 11 total cards in play from 1 to 11, so if you know math, then you can give yourself a big advantage, but it still comes down a little bit to luck as to whether or not the game decides to give you the trump cards you need to really be able to win. And sometimes the enemies cheat a little bit with the trump cards they seem to get. They seem to get more than they should have at any given time, and they seem to use just the perfect cards at just the perfect times, just as if the game knew that they needed them and decided to give it to them. But thankfully I got that done. It also takes well over an hour to do 21 Survival Plus. I'm sure there's speed runs out there of it, though. Then the bad and good ending in Daughters is very easy. It's just play through it twice, just follow a guide, you'll have no problem. Then you have your Jack's 55th birthday trophies. You have to feed him every type of food, which is pretty easy, and it'll probably come naturally while doing everything else. The 10-minute time bonus is very easy once you have managed to complete all of the S rankings, because if you get an S ranking on every stage, you get like a gold blaster that gives you a bunch of extra time for every enemy you kill, and it's infinite ammo. You can use that with very specific other items, but you do have to complete the round. And then the S rank or higher, it's not that hard once you sort of get a strategy down. I only had one map left, the Main House 2, which wasn't necessarily easy, but once you get a strategy down, it's not too bad. So for all of this, I would say the base game is like probably around a 4 to 5 out of 10, and like 20 to 30 hours to platinum. Banned Footage Volume 1 is, I would say, a 6 or 7 out of 10, mostly based on your skill and luck with Ethan Must Die, and it's going to take you 10 to 20 hours depending on your skill level. Banned Footage Volume 2 is going to take 5 to 10 hours most likely, unless you just keep getting really unlucky with 21 Survival Plus, and it's more like a 4 out of 10. End of Zoe, I did this one back in 2018 in the course of basically like a week, and it's not terrible. Easy or normal difficulty isn't a problem, but Joe Must Die mode was definitely a little bit tougher, though I think that you could use, like with this trophy it says using no weapons, but you get these like super powerful like power fists almost from the Fallout world, and you can use those, I believe, on both the Joe Must Die mode and the using no weapons thing, so I believe that that's how you can do those. The 4-hit combo is pretty easy, the stealth kills are pretty easy, and the extreme challenge is fairly easy because you only have to do one, and it's like right at the beginning that you can do it. So that one's like probably about a 4 out of 10 as well, or yeah, probably about a 4 out of 10 in like 5 hours or so. And finally, there's Not a Hero. This is the most simple DLC. Simply complete it on easy or normal, and complete it a second time on professional. I do remember this one, though. There are some trickier parts on professional, so I recommend, maybe checking out a guide or something, because I wrote a guide for this particular DLC. So overall, that is it for Resident Evil 7. Never going back to that game again for trophies. Glad to have another one knocked off the list. Next up, Loot Hero DX. This is a Ratalaika game. It's an automatic runner type game, so basically all you do is run to the right side of the screen. You automatically kill any enemies you run into. You don't have to jump or anything. The only other element aside from killing enemies is that you can upgrade yourself by stopping at upgrade shops, and that's what makes the game pretty easy. Like, this is actually an extremely easy, quick platinum trophy, and it was reasonably fun as well. It was a nice change of pace. Just, this is the kind of thing that you'd play on like a mobile phone or something just to mess around with short periods of time. Though it is one of the rare Ratalaika games where you have to beat all of the main levels, even though you don't... I mean, that's only kind of true because there's only 9 levels, but you can keep replaying them up to like... I think there's like 11 cycles of it or something. So you're going to get a few trophies through here just for completing the main game, the 9 levels, which takes 10 to 15 minutes. You have to buy one of each upgrade. There's 4 different upgrades. It's like defense, critical attack, and speed. And you have to get an upgrade medal for upgrading one item 10 times. This is all very easy though, and is something that you're going to want to do because you are going to have to run back and forth across the screen multiple times to rack up enough XP and money to be able to beat the final boss. Because you're going to have to be about level 17 to beat the final boss, so you might have to grind just a little bit, and that's where the time can come in just a little bit. Because there's not, again, it's not really much skill. It's more just seeing how lucky you can get with actually managing to kill the bosses at the end of each stage if you have just enough upgrades and levels to do it. You have to defeat a total of 1,000 enemies, which is going to come naturally because, like I said, you're going to have to get up to about level 17, and then beat a level in under 15 seconds. This one is best done on the very first level of the game once you have a lot of upgrades. And then finally, 1,000 worth of loot is going to be one of the first trophies you get. So very quick and easy platinum. This is the North American version. Took me 15 minutes, but you could probably do it a little bit faster. So nothing much to worry about there. Finally, we have Fallout 76 with the Steel Rain DLC. So with these trophies, the legendary mods are fairly easy because all you have to do for this is you're going to need legendary modules and legendary cores. The modules are very easy to get. You just trade script with the Purveyor at the Rusty Pick to get it. And I think you're going to need about 9 legendary modules. I can't remember exactly what the numbers are. I've got them written down on the guide that I'm writing for this DLC, but you're going to need this for... You're going to need like maybe 9-ish legendary modules, which is going to cost you about 450 script with the Purveyor. So it's not bad though as long as you have a little bit of script. Just trade in some various, legendary gear that you don't need anymore. The cores are a little bit trickier to get, but they have about a 48% chance apparently to drop from any event that you do. So really, you just have to farm the easy public events, or if you're lucky enough to do something like the Scorchbeast Queen, you're guaranteed, I believe, 5, and if you do the one that I did, which is like the Wendigo Colossus, which I just randomly got into a match of doing that with, that one gives you 8, which you only need 9 cores to do everything, so yeah, that was kind of lucky and very nice. Good that I had some people to help carry me through that little thing when I didn't even know what it really was. So the catalyst here, this is for finishing the 5 story missions in the DLC. I am somewhere in the middle of the second mission. I just haven't focused too much on it yet. And finally, the Elder Reward from a daily op requires you to finish the daily op in 8 minutes or less. I came actually very close with the one on Sunday. It's one where you have to wipe out 3 sets of raiders, including specially marked ones, and then hack some terminals or something. I almost got it with that. I did it in like 11 minutes on maybe my second try. It's going to come down heavily to the operation and to the mods available at any given time, like whatever kinds of modifications they do to the game mode on that day. If it comes down to it, I may have to do this one in a group just if I can't get through it solo. I think you can probably solo some of these well enough to get the Elder Reward depending on the combinations of the actual op and the mods available on that day, but if not, I can probably just get in a group to do it. So I'm not too worried about that. It just might take a little bit longer than I wanted it to. So yeah, that is going to be it for the trophies this week. Let's go ahead and sync up our list. Level 730, 92%, 20,740 total trophies, 519 platinums, 3,075 golds, 5,586 silvers, 11,560 bronzes. So, plans for the upcoming week. Hopefully I can finish off the Fallout 76 DLC. That would be awesome to get through that. Maybe get started on the Vision. How many months have I been saying that for at this point? But I'm also planning, me and Ghost are actually planning to get started on Battlefield 4 within the next week or two, so you might see me starting to boost that a little bit. So we'll have to see how much how much we actually get to work on that. Because, I mean, you can boost everything, but it is going to take time because, like, you have to spend 10 hours in each of the two of the DLCs. You have to spend 10 hours in each of them. Plus, you have to do all of those weapons assignments and stuff, and even, you know, boosting some of them, it's going to be kind of annoying. Plus, I think we need 2 more people to boost with. I think you need 4 people. So, not really looking forward to that, but, I mean, it's... I guess I technically don't have to do it, but I kind of want to so that I can have the numbered Battlefield games done. So I have 1, 3, 5, and now 4 done in preparation for Battlefield 6 when it comes out in the fall, along with Far Cry 6. So those are my only real focuses this week when it comes to trophies. Those are my only major plans. The schedule should be pretty normal this week, just, you know, typical video schedule, at least 1 stream this weekend, maybe 2. We should be actually getting done with Fallout 4 this coming weekend because all that's really left is a few more story missions, 1 more raider settlement, or 1 more settlement to give to the raiders, and a few other little miscellaneous things to show off from Nuka World. So we should be able to finish that game, or that whole playthrough, this coming weekend, which will allow me to start on new challenge runs and new just random playthroughs. Like, I wouldn't mind doing a playthrough of Resident Evil 4, playthrough of Homefront The Revolution, and then just other challenge runs for franchises like Call of Duty. I have other ideas: Borderlands, Far Cry, Uncharted. I have a number of different ideas for different games and franchises that I kind of want to try out at some point. So that is going to be it for this video, guys. Please like, favorite, share, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell if you haven't already. And there should also be another challenge run video up this week. That's the other thing to mention, is I'm just working on editing the last bit of that, so hopefully that'll be up. Hopefully there will be a recipe video up this week, as well as another vlog video, so it might be a pretty busy week. So thank you guys for watching, and see you later this week.